Hey guys, this is Rob from Waxadisc Music, and today I'm going to show you a track that I've recently made and released under one of my alias names. The name I've been releasing under lately is an artist name called Hypereel. It's a name that I release stuff under that's more on the techno, harder side of dance music, away from the disco-y sort of stuff. So basically, I put the stuff out on the Waxadisc Music label. And I thought that I would go through a few of the tracks that I've released recently that are now available on Beatport, Spotify, so on, and just show you how I made them, basically. They're all inspired very much by Lone, who's an artist on the R&S Records label who releases a lot of retro techno and rave breakbeat sort of stuff. And basically, I really loved that sort of stuff when I was growing up, and I thought I'd do a track in that sort of style. So here it is. All the links for the track will be available on the description of the video and at the end of the video, so you can check them out and so forth. So if you want to stream it on Spotify or listen to it on iTunes, it's available on there for you to do so. But I'm going to play the track now. I'm going to skip through it and you'll get the vibe of what I'm doing, and then I'll go through it step by step. Here it goes.
Now we gather here on the universe at this time, this particular time, to listen to the 36 black notes of the piano. There's 36 black notes and white notes. We don't mean to eliminate something, but we're going to just hear the black notes at this time, if you don't mind.
So you get the gist of the track, completely inspired by that sort of Lone sound and the early 90s rave records. Okay, so first things first, what I did with this track was obviously I needed to find a riff that was suitable. So I took the classic M1 R-pad sound, which is this sound. Which is that, and it's here in the simpler down here, as you can see. Play it in middle C, it goes like this. Classic sound from that period. And basically what I did was dropped it an octave and just pressed C, D sharp and F, and that was it. Stuck a load of reverb on it, concert hall 29% or 30% thereabouts. Put the decay up quite high so that it rolled over, and took some of the bottom end out. So if I take off the EQ, it's really dull. Stuck on the EQ, took a load of bottom end out, raised the peaks up here, look. So it just brightened it up and it made it nice and clear, and compressed it at the end. So I put in that riff, and what I needed was some sort of natural sound effect to go with it, so that it gave it that kind of organic feel. And obviously I got a sample of some crickets, and all it is just crickets. Simple little loop that I found, got it offline somewhere. Put again on a forest floor reverb, which I thought was quite suitable. Decay's quite high, dry and wet's quite high. I didn't do anything else to anything else, and stuck feedback 60%, 30% on the dry wet with a ping pong, just so that it gives it that sort of outside sort of effect. Played it with the sample. It just gives it an instant sort of atmosphere, a sort of character. And then I took the speech. This is this one here.
Now we gathered here on the universe at this time, this particular time, to listen to the 36 black notes of the piano. There's 36 black notes and 52 white notes. We don't mean to eliminate nothing, but we're going to list here the black notes at this time, if you don't mind.
And that is a pretty cool sample. And that came from a record by a group called Attica Blues, which was a Wax label from the early to mid 90s. I can't remember the name of the track. I think it's Vibe Scribes and Dusty 45s. So that came from there, an old Wax record. I thought that'd fit perfect over the riff.
Now we gathered here on the universe at this time.
It just gave it a little bit of a little bit of character. And then we go over to the main synth riff. Now this isn't. I've arpeggiated it, and it comes from the Tau Noisemaker, which I've promoted this before on various tutorials. And it is a really good free VST synth, which is a 64-bit, so it's good. And in it is a sound, which is a lead sound, which is the crystal lead. Now, if I take off the all the effects, take the effects off, and just play it in its raw state. It's nice little synth. But when you arpeggiate it, put a delay on it, so put a ping pong on it, 40% on each one. And I've EQ'd it obviously and raised it and so on. But what I've done is I put it into the Bach 16th arpeggio, and the style is diverge, and it's a straight groove. I've not messed about with the swing on it. And I've put the gate at 50%, and I've changed it from a shift, or I think it was in major or shift, I can't remember. I changed it to a minor and put it in C minor, so that when I play the notes, it's the same as the riff, which is in C minor. So this here, look. So if I just get that up. Like so. So what I do there is just playing a riff using those notes of the C minor chord, C minor 7 chord mostly. And then I wanted a beat in there, so I just got a standard little beat, which is a loop. It's just a heavy techno, straightforward kick and hi-hat. Nothing fancy, just a straight loop. And some claps, and just added those in individually like that. So one comes in off the beat and one comes in on the beat. So it's like, play that. Just gives it a nice effect. And obviously I've stuck in a simple 909 crash in there as well. And the 909 crash just comes from the 909 drum machine, which is part of the Roland Cloud service, which is just a standard crash. And then we've got a breakbeat, which is this, which is just a classic drum and bass breakbeat from the early 90s, slowed down. Obviously, if it was a lot faster, it would sound a little bit more cleaner. But it's got that real dirtiness to it, which I really like. And it's set at 130 BPM, so you know that gives it a little bit of chugginess as well, which is good against the main beat. So yeah, so I've done that and played the riffs in on top. And what I've done is I've got the track into two sections, and I wanted to use the Rave generator, which is a synth that I've promoted heavily before, which is something I'm absolutely really fond of. And the Rave generator synth, it looks like this. This is the second version now that's come out. Again, 64-bit. And basically, it's got all of the classic rave sounds and techno sounds from the from the late 80s to the early 90s and so on. Every iconic dance record that's used a classic synth sound is pretty much on this software. Someone's actually gone out of the way and sampled each one and configured them to each key and stuff. So really well put together piece of software. And the riff that I've used off this is off the House Nation preset, which goes like this. And then I wanted it to go off into a different section here, so I did a different riff, and it was in a different key. It was in the G sharp. So I wanted to turn the riff around and use the G and then the C and then the D sharp rather than C, D sharp and F. So just give it a different twist. Just like so. And that was a little bit in the middle, which I wanted to do, which goes from here, look. So the riff comes out, and then the piano sample vocal comes back in there, which gives the track a chance to progress into the second section, like so. Like that. And then it drops off again here. And this is where the riff comes back in with a vocal, and the vocal music, which I've sampled from Marshall Jefferson's classic Gotta Have House Music, although I took this from the Acapellas Anonymous album. It's the bit where it just goes gotta have house music, and I don't know if it's all there. So if you listen to it on its own. So let me just take off the filter and you'll hear it. Gotta have house music. And I've just took that little bit of vocal and that's it. So it goes like this. But all I've done is I've auto filtered it, as you can see on the frequency, and filtered it up with the pads. And then we introduce another synth, and I've done some riffs, just simple little notes. And this is from the V Station, which is the innovation thing that came free with my small MIDI controller. And it's a nice little synth, it just goes like this. It's very much like a Blade Runner sort of sound. And that, again, it's just atmospheric. It's got a load of reverb on top. Which is all set in there, and the delay, but it's just a standard string sound. You can use any sort of string sound, really. I mean, it just goes, and it's just drawn out, and it's very, very Vangelis. So that's why I like that in there, and that just comes in there. And then at the end it drops to this completely at the end. And then it breaks down. Took a ton of delay on at the end there, look, as you can see. When you show the delay, you can see it, the feedback and the dry wet is up, and it takes it all the way down, so it filters out and it fades out at the end. So that is that, really. I just wanted to make a little demo of showing you how I made that track. And obviously, if you want to make something like this, just all you've got to do is take a few hard 909 sort of drum sounds, a couple of classic breakbeats. Get the Rave Generator synth, which is that one, which is brilliant. You can find that anywhere around. Just type in Rave Generator VST and it comes up. Obviously, get the Tau Noise Maker, which is a great little synth. And once you put the arpeggio on, it just sounds way different. Just gives it a whole different dynamic. So that's a really good synth to get. And get a few samples and, you know, things like that, and then a string and a vocal sample. You know, and just experiment with like old classic rave sort of sounds, especially the rave generator itself. I mean, if I go through some of these sounds now with some of you that may never have heard them, you'll get an absolute perfect feel for it. So you got that, you got all the classic staple sounds. Tuxedo sound. LA style. Two Unlimited. Whatever that was. T99. So you get the gist of it. It's all the old rave sound. So yeah, go and get that as well. And that's about it, really. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more music tips and advice and ideas. Look at the video link at the bottom of the screen, and you will see the full track of this in all its glory. And you can find the Spotify links also as well for you to stream. Thank you and goodbye.